It's Friday, June 27th, 2025. I want to go into deeper detail on this big story this week. Mr. Beast, a trainer he was working with, dropping dead at age 38. And again, they're treating it like it's a mystery, but us in the Gematria community are saying, this ain't no mystery. It's so obvious what happened. Dead at 38. It just couldn't be any more obvious. And you know, here's Mr. Beast that has more subscribers than the population of the United States. The Newsweek article said he was currently at 407 million subscribers. The day the article was written was June 25th. June 24th is the day the article was written. That was 3 days ago. He's up 2 million more subs. He's at 409 million subscribers. He's growing 2 million subs in 3 days. Pretty impressive. And you know, it has a lot to do with this viral story about the trainer dropping dead who was working with him on his latest video. And, you know, the one thing I got to say, we've all heard of Mr. Beast and him being the most popular YouTuber. I have never seen a Mr. Beast video to date, and never once have I logged into YouTube and his videos have been like there in the main window. I find that kind of interesting because there are a lot of big channels on this platform that show up in the main window when I log on, but I have never had a Mr. Beast video in my window ever. And now that I clicked on his channel today, that might very well change. But I just wonder if it's the same thing for you guys. Have you guys ever logged onto YouTube and had a Mr. Beast video in your feed? People, other big people on the platform, That guy with the red hair that goes on Fox News, JP, something like that. He always shows up in my feed. I don't even like that guy. Again, he's not nearly as big as Mr. Beast, but I'm just making the point that, you know, some of these people that are on cable news, on TV, they'll show up in the feed. They got big channels, but nothing compared to Mr. Beast. I think JP has about 3 million subs. Anyhow, let's go over this and let's imagine what could happen if Mr. Beast came out and said, you know what? It's time for my audience to learn about Gematria in the evil going on in the world of celebrity. As we've explained a million times, you learn this code of Gematria, the Kabbalistic practice of coding numbers into words. Things that are a mystery are no longer a mystery. Case in point, the number 38 is a number of death, killing, and murder. And it happens all the time. Again, learn Gematria. Tyler Wall equates to 38. They're saying this man dropping dead at 38 it's really hard to explain. They just don't know what happened to him. And we see this all the time in the world of celebrity, just suspicious deaths. Mr. Beast. Here's the kind of money Mr. Beast makes. His latest video has 136 million views. The current payment rate for 1 million views on YouTube is between $1,000 and $12,000 per million views. And the way that's mostly decided is how long the video is. So if you have like a 15-second video that gets a million views, you'll get like $1,000. If you have a 30-minute video, this is almost 40, you're closer to that $12,000. We'll just pick a number in the middle. We'll say $8,000 per million views for this. Let's just see what the math is on that. Let me just pull up an online calculator. Oh, hold on. I actually got one up here. 8,000 times 136, and this is pretty much what he does on every video too. Whoops, I missed a zero there. Hold on, let me do that again. 8,000 times 136 as 136 million views. He has made over $1 million on this video, right? And that's pretty much par for the course. You know, last video, 94 million views. Let me see if I can pull up his channel. You know. This guy makes upwards of $1 million per video. 94, 136, 92, 151, 65, 132, 164. Think about this. Nearly $1 million per video, okay? Major money. And again, promoted as the world's biggest YouTuber. The children of the world are supposedly his base. They definitely know his name. You go into elementary school and say Mr. Beast, they all know this guy's name. And remember, he's just got engaged. They might be married by now, but at the beginning of the year, the news was he got engaged to the author of The Marked Children, did Mr. Beast. Anyway, Tyler Wall, 38, drops dead at 38. LeBron said it very clearly to JJ Redick about a year ago, just before JJ Redick was named the coach of the Lakers. JJ Redick said, "LeBron, what is the secret to being so successful for this long?" And LeBron goes, "You got to sacrifice your loved ones." And JJ was like, "What? Can you say that again?" And LeBron's like, "You got to sacrifice your loved ones." Of course, there's been a lot of deaths connected to LeBron over the years, as we've covered. But yeah, here's the movie poster for Murder by Numbers. The E's a 3, the B's an 8. Did I not link the post here? All right, right here. Again, just in Gematria, this Kabbalistic practice of coining numbers into words. Murder equals 38. It also equals 83. The big way, like the song Murder by Numbers came out in 83. It's about how killing is as simple as ABC is 1, 2, 3. Again, the star of that movie, Sandra Bullock, which equals 83. The film released 38 weeks after her birthday. In this letters and number code, killing, death, RIP, they're all 38. Gematria is 38. So is English. So is Kabbalah. We're going to come back to this word Kabbalah. But if you're new here, all of these values are simple to calculate. They're all based on the alphabetic order. A is 1 up to Z is 26, the most simple cipher. The reverse alphabetic order, Z is 1 back to A is 26, is the other half of the code. And then also just forwards and backwards with numerology applied to each letter. Those are your 4-base ciphers. Again, I learned about this in a book from 1926, The Secret Teachings of All Ages. And imagine if 407 million people on Earth had that knowledge rather than, watching trivial entertainment videos, the kind of stuff MrBeast puts out as he gets engaged to the marked children. But yeah, that we know this is the cost of being on the world stage. It comes in blood. It comes in blood. And there might be other deaths like this connected to MrBeast, but this one's buzzing right now, and this is the one we're going to focus on. So let's just go through all of this step by step. Newsweek wrote the big article that got all the attention about this on Freemasonry's birthday, June 24th, 25, a date with 55 numerology. When you run it forward, Satan is 55. When you run it in reverse, Satan is 80. And the man who was doing the weight loss, who was being trained by Tyler Wall, when he died while making the video, it's MrBeast's friend MAJD, and I don't know if that's pronounced Majda. I'm not sure. But the spelling of that word does equal 80. And again, MrBeast's full name is James Stephen Donaldson, which equates to 80. Remember, the Bavarian Illuminati equates to 80 as well, and part of the plan of the Bavarian Illuminati was to infiltrate Freemasonry. So I'm just making the point that this article was published on Freemasonry's birthday. There's plenty of videos on the internet of 33rd degree Freemasons coming out and saying it does get satanic at the top. I can't say for sure that I know that's true because I've never been in Freemasonry. I've never been to the 33rd degree, but there's plenty of videos online of Masonic whistleblowers saying it does get quite satanic at the top. And what I do wonder, being an outsider, is I do know that Freemasonry is based in Kabbalah. I know that from reading Morals and Dogma by Albert Pike, one of the most prominent Freemasons. I do know that there's an evil half of Kabbalah, which is satanic. I start to wonder if that's some of the stuff that they get into when you get to the top degree. But yeah, just moving on down the line. This man died at age 38 on February 18th. They saved the story for this week, though, so this happened some time ago. It happened shortly after the announcement of his engagement to the author of The Marked Children, which was on New Year's Day. But death equals 38, and 218 looks a lot like the number 218, which is also another number connected to death, in an English cipher that pays tribute to Hebrew Gematria and Greek isopsophy. Isopsophy is the Greek word for coding numbers into words. Revelation 13:18 about the beast and calculating it. That's a Greek isopsophy riddle. So again, if you go to the website Writing the Beast, the oldest Gematria calculator online is at the Writing the Beast website. They use this cipher as their default cipher. Writing the Beast Gematria calculator. Just to pull this up. Go to that website. You don't even need to change the setting. They just call it English Gematria on this website, but calculate death 218. And like I said, I forget if it was 2014 or 2015. It was in the early days of this, back when I lived in the Seattle area. Got a lot of weird letters in my mailbox. One I got was saying that I will die eventually on February 18th. And at the time I was like, why 218? I didn't know about this cipher. I was like, okay, sure. But again, turns out the date has a connection to death. And it says here in the article, we're not pulling the plug on this. Maj, I'll just say his name's Maj, says in this video, I can't let him down. He completed the challenge in 178 days. So they make this as part of the article about the death of this man to just get that number 178 in there. Kabbalah, again, where this whole practice of coding numbers into words comes from. What Freemasonry is based in. Kabbalah, which has a good half and an evil half. And it's referenced in Genesis 3:22. The tree of life is the physical model for Kabbalah. Genesis 3:22 is about the tree of life and knowing good and evil. Again, the evil half of Kabbalah is about sorcery and spell casting. Has to do with wickedness. Here we go. Dead at 38. Kabbalah 38 forwards, in reverse 178. And you've seen these numbers before. Remember when George Floyd was killed on the corner of 38th in Chicago? George Floyd has the 178 in his name. And then they did all these tributes to the Civil War. Civil War equals 43 as well. It ended in 1865. We know how January 6th was all connected to that. If you're new here, you can go back and revisit that work, what's left of it, since the channel's been deleted 20 sometimes, and a lot of that content is gone, but some is still here. They also compared it to 9/11, the Twin Towers, the Twin Cities. The day before George Floyd, what was all in the news was the racist woman calling the police on a black man who was bird watching while she was choking her dog. But of course, 119 connected to the date 11th of September. The first plane hit the towers at 8:46. Remember, initially it was 8 minutes and 46 seconds on George Floyd's neck was the story. And then they added 43 more seconds to get it to 929. Like United States of America equals 929 in Jewish Gematria. Like there's 929 chapters in the Old Testament. But yeah, the Civil War was the big piece too, because Memorial Day came out of the Civil War and George Floyd was supposedly killed on Memorial Day. But yeah, George Floyd with the 178 on the corner of 38th Street. These numbers get paired together. Notice also how the article mentions how he's on 407 million subs. Of course, Beast equals 47. But here's where this also gets interesting besides Beast equaling 47. This article was published on the 308th birthday of modern Freemasonry. Modern Freemasonry began in London, England, June 24th, 1717. Obviously, 2025 is 308 years later. Beast, 47,308. This big viral article, about MrBeast from Newsweek getting a lot of attention, again, on modern Freemasonry's birthday. And don't forget that Newsweek also equals 33, like Masonry. It's got a triple overlap with Masonry. Look at Newsweek, 105, 33, 39. Look at Masonry, 105, 33, 39. The big story on Freemasonry's birthday was the 33-year-old Democratic primary winner, the young Muslim man on Freemasonry's birthday. Said he went on a 13-mile walk just before the election, like M's the 13th letter, the first letter in Mason. If you missed my work on that, you can check that out as well. But it's just not an accident that it was 33. But yeah, the Beast thing goes perfectly with Freemasonry, modern Freemasonry's 308th birthday. And if you forgot, again, it was January 1st, 2025, a date with 47 numerology, where the story was that he was engaged to the author of The Mark Children, an obvious play on Mark of the Beast. And we can go back and look at that article. I know we covered it New Year's Day. And then also just in the talks to buy TikTok at the start of the year, where they keep extending the date. Let me see. Right here, New Year's Day, MrBeast gets engaged to fellow content creator Tia Boyson on Christmas Day, is planning an intimate island wedding, but this was the news on New Year's Day. She's also from South Africa. So I don't know how everything got so blurry in this article. That's weird. Yeah, they even say in the article that she's the author of The Marked Children. It's such mockery. It's such mockery. But okay, just looking at the 4 base ciphers and the whole Freemasonry birthdays thing, the article refers to him as all these things throughout the article. Coach Tyler Wall, Coach Wall. They use that interchangeably, and I don't think they do it by accident. Coach Tyler Wall equals 158 and 59, like Freemasonry equals 158 and 59. And remember, from modern Freemasonry being created in 1717 to this nation being created in 1776 is 59 years. And 59 is the 17th prime, and Mason equals 17. Again, modern Freemasonry born in 1717. Mason equals 17. Masonry equals 33. The address for the House of the Temple, the Masonic Temple in D.C., is 1733. You can see Coach Wall equals 33. Also 78 and 165 like Scottish Rite. Also 48 like Freemason. I didn't put the Masonry up here, but Masonry, as we just covered, is 33. Should have. Yeah, so again, just how the article gets written on Freemasonry's birthday and it becomes viral news on that day. Is that an accident? I don't think so. The Marked Children also has the 158 encoding, the book that his, if they're not already married, soon-to-be wife wrote. The official cause of death, by the way, for Tyler Wall is an accident. You see how Coach Tyler Wall's 59? Again, accident is 59. We saw this same thing in Kobe Bryant's death. The Black Mamba, accident 59. Black Mamba 59. Black Mamba's favorite football team wins Super Bowl 59 in the year of the snake. Just passed. He's a Philadelphia Eagles fan. But yeah, from MrBeast's birthday to the death was exactly 41 weeks, which is the 13th prime, and Revelation 13 is about the beast. Revelation 13:18 is about calculating the number of the beast, which is 666. Notice MrBeast in Sumerian Gematria, this is just multiplying the alphabetic order times 6, forwards and backwards. MrBeast 666, like internet, like computer. His cause of death said accident, but it also said it was possibly this poisoning from kratom, mitragynine toxicity, I don't know how you say it, mitragynine toxicity. 107, like ritual sacrifice. They had to throw out this. As of the time of this report, the video, which features Wall and the news of his passing, has been viewed over 86 million times. Again, blood sacrifice and human sacrifice equals 86. 86 to get rid of. The Marked Children also has the 86 encoding. In the article, we talked about the 80 at the beginning. Remember, the 80 at the top. Maybe I forgot to read that part of the article at the beginning. Shoot. Hold on. Let me pull back up just the actual article here. Okay, so right at the beginning it says Maj is helped in the video by a fitness coach named Tyler Wall. However, in the video, MrBeast team shared that Wall, who was 38, unexpectedly passed away around 80 days into the challenge. I think I forgot to say this at the beginning, which is pretty crucial. It's right at the start of the story. And we were talking about where the 80 fits in. Again, Satan is 80, Maj is 80, MrBeast's full name is 80, the Illuminati connection with 80. But then it's not just the 80 there, it's even at the end, they got to throw another 80 at you. They got to come and say, Maj also paid tribute to Wall in a post that has been liked over 80,000 times. It reads in part, I love you, Coach Wall. The time we spent together are times I will cherish for the rest of my life. The things you taught me are applicable to all aspects of my life. Now, remember, he got $250,000 out of this, too. There's a lot of people in this world that would kill for a lot less than $250,000. He didn't get what MrBeast, though, made off the video. MrBeast says, we humbly ask that you honor Coach Wall's memory and respect his family's need for privacy during this difficult time. Coach Tyler Wall's legacy of compassion and encouragement will live on the hearts of all who were fortunate enough to know him. You know what I wish he would have wrote and said? You know, it's time for me to admit to you that I'm one of these chosen ones, and I'm promoted by this algorithm, and they have me in this arranged satanic marriage with the author of the Marked Children, and I really am here to warp the minds of the youth and keep them from paying attention to the things they should be. And there's other people out here who are doing great work, who are shadow banned, and YouTube minimizes their views and takes away their likes and their subs and their views and pays them pennies a month while I get to have millions per video made. And one of those people is Zachary K. Hubbard, who's been educating about the ritual murders in the world of entertainment that everyone really should know about, and specifically the number 38. And I want to apologize, for my part in this ritual. And I will no longer make YouTube videos, and I, from this day forward, will speak out against the evil in the entertainment industry. I think that would just be magnificent, and I think that would make MrBeast a true hero. And by the way, MrBeast is 27 years old right now, you guys. Revelation, which teaches about 666, is the 26th book of the New Testament. So, perfect age. And somebody said I forgot to measure from February 18th to Beast's May 7th birthday, and they said, here, I got their comment here. It was Gematria Sense. They said, here, let's make sure this is all correct. I'm sure it is, but sometimes he'll give me information and it's not, so I just want to make sure we're right here. We know that the article said that Tyler Wall died February 18th from an accident. And we do know that, at least per online, yeah, so it was 78 days prior, and that's a special number. Going with the Freemasons, again, Scottish Rite is 78, Jesuit is 78. We know they just put in Trump in the very Jesuit Masonic ritual, again, at age 78. As the latest Grover Cleveland, Mr. Trump cards, when there's 78 tarot cards in the deck, and the top cards are Trump cards. But yeah, MrBeast does also have the 78. So yeah, that's the other half of it. 78 days before the upcoming birthday. And remember, Genesis equals 78, and the 78th verse of Genesis is Genesis 3:22, about the tree of life and knowing good and evil. Good and evil. Is the beast on the good side or the evil side? Coach Wall, also 78. Yeah, this is a really simple, straightforward cipher. Kratom 78, because they did make Kratom part of it. Yeah, absolutely. Great additions, Gematria Sense. I appreciate you picking up on that major oversight. Here is wisdom doesn't equal 78, does it? No. For a second, I thought it did. Here is wisdom is how the King James Version begins for Revelation 13:18. It does equal 66, like number of the beast, like in Protestant Bibles, like the King James Version, it is the 66th book. He's got the Nike hat on. Nike's symbol is a ring of Saturn. To the occult, Saturn is Satan. It's probably not an accident either. His Google photo with the Nike swoosh. A lot of ritualistic deaths connected to Nike, as we covered over the years, including Dan Wyden, who invented the term "just do it." And I actually knew Dan Wyden. My mom cleaned his house for many a years out here in Portland, Oregon. He died by the numbers synced up with the recent movie about Nike, and they even quote Dan Wyden at the beginning of the film. Movie with Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. Dynamic duo in Hollywood. They always bring those two together. And I'll never forget, you guys, about Dan Wyden. When I first started this research, my mom cleaned for him for a very long time, and he was a nice person. He was very generous to my mom. He'd always give her a nice Christmas present. She was the best client he had. He was the best client that she had. And it was in the early years of this research, like it was probably 2014-ish. I just mentioned in a video, I said, like the only person that I would have within my circle of influence, sort of the only powerful person that I have any kind of connection to is Dan Wyden. Wyden and Kennedy's, who did all the marketing and advertising for both Nike and Coca-Cola. But It was his father's advertising agency, but he was running it for a long time. But I said, I might have to reach out to him. Maybe he can help us get this knowledge out there and connect with some people who can. Well, it was like, it was from making that video, it might have been 2 weeks went by, and all of a sudden my mom got let go by him. And then she didn't clean for him anymore. And I thought, I say that in a video, and the next thing you know, all of a sudden, after working for all this time, she might have cleaned for him for closer to 20 years. But it all of a sudden just let go. Anyway, let me pull up Dan Wyden's death real quick. Might have been a 38 in his death, come to think of it. Hold on. I'm spelling Wyden wrong. That's right. Wyden's like that. All right. Yeah, that's right. He died on 930. Saturn has the 93 connection. He died exactly 39 weeks into the year. Nike is 39. In the most simple cipher, Nike's 39. Nike's also 21 in the same cipher as Saturn. 21's the sixth triangular number. Saturn's the sixth planet. Remember last week on Saturn's Day, we sent 6 B-2 bombers from White Man Air Force Base that had been there since 93. He died 208 days after his birthday, and Just Do It. He's 28, similar, just like the 407 and 47 thing. Oregon was established on a 93 date, having Nike be headquartered in the 33rd state, Oregon. King Richard had a good decode. He died 153 days after the current CEO, big Illuminati Jesuit number. Remember, the first Jesuit pope was born on Saturnalia. Saturn's very special to the occult. But yeah, he was a nice, generous person there, Mr. Dan Wyden. So R.I.P. And again, that was around the same time that film about Nike came out with Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. All right, so yeah, MrBeast, if you're out there, I mean, we all know you don't need any more money. I think all you really need is to do something righteous. Isn't it just annoying, though, how they get away with this? Like, if I was a parent, I'd be like, you know what? I don't want you to watch a guy named MrBeast, especially now that he's engaged to the author of the Mark Children. There's obviously something wicked going on here. It's clearly something wicked. Clearly a play on evil. And then you just see, I mean, here, to make a point from the story about him getting engaged to the author of the Mark Children to February 18th, that would have been 48 days later, right? 48. And remember, the word evil itself is 48. Tree is 48. When I first saw that, how evil and tree overlapped, I was like, what in the world? Why would that be? But this is in the early days of this research. I was like, why would evil and tree have all that? And then I go, well, wait a minute. The evil half of the tree of life, the evil half of Kabbalah. Perfect overlap in all 4 ciphers. And again, Illuminati. Illuminati's got the 48. Freemasons got the 48. What did we see it in also? Coach Wall. Coach Wall 48. 48 days after the news of the engagement. Actually, you know what else? It said that they got engaged on Christmas, right? So that would have been 6 days before New Year's Day. So we're talking about 54 days. Look at this. Mark of the Beast. Mark of the Beast, 54. 54 days from the engagement to the Mark Children girl. This guy dies. 54 days later. Mark of the Beast, 54. Of course, Jesuit Order, 54. Don't forget what they did to Kobe Bean Bryant the Sunday before Super Bowl 54. Kobe, who had the 666 workout, scored his career high of 81 in his 666th game. Kobe Bean Bryant, 81, just like Mark of the Beast when you run it in reverse. in the world of entertainment is full of this stuff. Okay. In other news, just to cover some other stuff that's buzzing and not buzzing. We'll come back to this one at the end, actually. We'll save this one for the end. Gematria32 had a nice find today about something we've historically talked about 1,000 times. Yesterday, you guys, yesterday was the 177th day of the year, the day leaving 188 days remaining, and a big story on Fox was that Trump's energy chief came out and said, you know, our power grid is on the verge of a major catastrophe. You've heard the news speculate all the ways the power grid could get taken out. Cyber attack, people physically attacking key points in the power grid. 3-4 years ago, 60 Minutes did a story on how if it was targeted, there's about 5 power stations where if they were physically shot with bullets or some other kind of ammunition, they could trigger a nationwide collapse in the grid. If you guys we covered that at the time. I was like, wow, is 60 Minutes mapping out for somebody how to take down the whole nation's grid at once? I mean, it's a good idea. Solar flares, all the different things they throw at us. But the reason I point this out is, again, they did this on the 177th day of the year, the Jesuit Order 177. Again, the Jesuit Klaus Schwab at his World Economic Forum that also did the Event 201 simulation. Remember, Klaus Schwab also equals 177. But Klaus Schwab's been talking about how there's going to be an event that's going to take down the grid. He's been thinking it's going to be a cyber attack, and he said it's going to make Cooties 19 seem like nothing. So I find it interesting that Jesuit-educated Trump and his administration is coming out and saying this on the 177th day of the year. And keep in mind, that's the day leaving 188 days left in the year. Bavarian Illuminati's 188, like cyber attack. That was what was coded all over the WannaCry virus. Remember that from a handful of years back. 177 was also part of that ritual. So, interesting day. And like I said, July 7th is the 188th day of the year, leaving 177 remaining. And that's the day I got circled right now for the grid. Power's also 77. Again, don't live in fear, but just in case something does happen in the near future, make sure you just got your emergency supplies on hand. Little water, some canned beans, little first aid kit, flashlight, batteries, some kind of protection device just in case. Doesn't have to be a gun if you don't like guns. Some people are terrified of guns. Get a can of bear spray. I almost feel like bear spray you could do more damage with. Not have to worry about killing somebody. You're a woman. You got 4 goons coming at you. Just bear spray them all before they even get there. They'll be blind for hours. Nobody comes to help them. They'll be blind for the whole day. Trust me, I can tell you what it's like to get bear sprayed in the face. I had Antifa do it to me a few years back. It is not fun. Okay. Do you guys remember that? It came out like a week later after I got bear sprayed when they said that the officer, what was his name? Officer... What was it? He had some crazy name from January 6th. That was like a week or 2 after they come out with this story that he had died from getting bear sprayed. I just got bear sprayed, and now just, I think it was just days or a week later, all of a sudden that was a story. Andy No was using the footage of me getting bear sprayed to sell his own book. This guy that gets to go on cable news and promote his stuff. It's like, look at on his own social media, he's using me getting bear sprayed to sell his book. This is crazy. All right, I did put out a video about this earlier, but just in case you missed it, hardly anyone's seen that video. Today has 6 date numerology. Today is Friday, June 27th, 2025. The date numerology is 6. The Supreme Court decided on 6 cases today, including, states like Texas. If you're watching pornographic material, you got to punch in your driver's license. It's going into the database. The Supreme Court decided to uphold that today. Could be part of your social credit score someday. But yeah, anyway, that's one of the 6 decisions today. The biggest and most important is that the Supreme Court ruled that these lower circuit courts can't overrule Trump and his executive orders. So they're giving more power to the one branch of government. And Yeah, again, just today leaves 187 days left in the year. Big number in D.C. Washington, D.C.'s 187, like George Washington. Society of Jesus, that's the Jesuits who set up camp there before the feds even came, 187. Trump's first Supreme Court justice that he put in the first time around, Neil McGill Gorsuch, 187. Remember, a lot of 187 in D.C. history. Again, when the first Jesuit Pope was in there, Trump's birthday was 187 days from his. The first time around, Trump had his GOP convention start on the 18th day of the 7th month, 187 days from Inauguration Day. George Washington equals 187. George Washington died in a 187 ritual next to a Jesuit priest back on December 14th when he was 67 years old. And the fact that George Washington died at 67 and the 6th day of the 7th month is the 187th day of the year. Of course, that's George W. Bush's birthday, a different George W. He's part of the Brotherhood of Death, Skull and Bones. Brotherhood of Death is also 187. But yeah, very, very symbolic number here, 187. Number that we've talked about with Trump many a times before and other people in the federal city. But yeah, how often does the Supreme Court make 6 major rulings? 6, special number to us as people, man-made on the 6th day in the Bible. And then the other thing is today, it is 6-date numerology, but if you break down the path, first it becomes 78, then 78 is 7 plus 8 is 15, and then 15 is 1 plus 5 is 6. But yeah, the 78 matters because there's 78 cards in the tarot deck, and the top cards, which trump the other cards that are called trump cards. Again, just think about it. You know, the top cards are trump cards. 78 in the deck on this 78 date numerology path, this ruling for Trump, so that he can trump the lower courts. I mean, come on. Come on. And just a reminder, Arturo Sosa, he was installed on October 14th, the year that Trump would be elected the first time. That's the day leaving 78 days left in the year. Also in the headlines, Josh Pickles, executive at DoorDash, killed this past Saturday along with his family members when their boat capsized. Now, remember, we had Saturday circled for the weather warfare, right? You had the extreme tornado event in North Dakota, as we covered last weekend. The derecho and the tornadoes. The 68 years to the day of the worst tornado in the state history. And we talked about how what happened in North Dakota was 337 days from twisters releasing, which is the 68th prime. But on this same day at Lake Tahoe, a powerful storm event is what's blamed for capsizing their boat and killing them. And again, that was the 52 date numerology. My 2017 book, the chapter in there on weather warfare explains how 52 is the number of weather warfare, why we're always looking out for the 52 date. This article was brought to a lot of people's attention on Freemasonry's birthday as well. And just DoorDash has this triple overlap. DoorDash equals 84 and 39 like Masonry, 42 like Freemason. Lake Tahoe, 78 and 165 like Scottish Rite, 33 like Masonry, 48 like Freemason. So similar to the Tyler Wall story. But yeah, a bizarre weather event. And keep in mind, California equals 52 as well. This did happen in a 52 territory. Was it really the weather and the capsizing, though, that did them in? Or is this a sacrifice for Tony Zhu, the founder and CEO and young billionaire, capitalizing on the laziness of the world? You know, I'm one of these people that can't believe that anybody uses this stuff. DoorDash, Uber, food delivery. To me, it just blows me away that people use their hard-earned money on this. Because it's like the food is already expensive, right? And then you're paying this super expensive delivery fee. You're getting most of the time when you order out, something's not even nutrition, and you're just paying all this extra money for it. And it's like, man, had you just taken a little time and gone to the grocery store and fixed up a nice little meal, you'd be eating healthier, saving your money for a better future to help escape the slave grind. But at the same time, you can say, well, the people who waste their money like that, they're supporting the businesses, they're supporting the DoorDash drivers, but how much are they really making? I remember when I first moved out to Yakima, Um, it was a disaster when I first moved out to Yakima, but I'd been doing Uber and Lyft for 3 months between moving from Seattle. I'd finished my book and I was trying to find a publisher at that time for people who weren't following me, but I moved from Seattle to Yakima, Washington, because my wife was going to school in Yakima from March to June of 2018. And our house was new construction in Yakima, and it was supposed to be ready the day we moved in, but when I got there, they weren't done building the house. I was like, what the hell? How are they not done? I just talked to the builder like 3 days ago, and he said I'll be finished. So anyway, when I got there, I didn't have, I couldn't like go in the house and start to move in and just set up a little place to sleep. So what I decided to do was I had my car. I just decided to do Uber food delivery. I just turned on the Uber app, and because that was all they had in Yakima. I'm trying to remember how it all was. They weren't doing Uber drive people around in Yakima yet, but they were doing Uber food, and I'd never done the Uber food thing. So I did like 24 straight hours of Uber food delivery in Yakima. I didn't get a single tip, and I do good service. I bring it right to the door, But the point I'm making is in 24 hours of doing that, I made I forget what it was like $43 or something. I thought, God, I've been working for 24 hours, didn't sleep or anything, didn't have any place to go, and barely made over $40. I was like, how are people living off this? This is insane. How much did Uber collect on all these deliveries I just did? But yeah, I mean, these companies, and you just think about all the people in the world doing these kind of jobs and how the people who invented these apps, and you could say, well, good for them. They invented the system for people to participate in if they want. But again, this guy's multi-billionaire. I'm guessing the average DoorDash driver is probably pretty broke. And yeah, in this case, Josh Pickles is no longer breathing. So at least so we're told. But yeah, the big point here is 52 date, crazy weather again. Same type of stuff. And like I told you, next month, the 52 date is going to fall on July 20th, which is also the 201st day of the year, the weather control number. All right, now shout out to Gematria32. Of course, I've talked about the shooting in Newtown and the encoding of 112 1,000 different ways. The 112-pound shooter who was born on the 112th day of the year, whose initials are AL. A's the first letter, L's the 12th. It was compared to the Dune Blaine massacre, which happened on 112 date numerology, when Alex Jones got sued for defamation and whatever. Essentially, when Alex Jones got sued for free speech, so we were told, it was a big 112 ritual in regards to this shooting. So today in Patreon, Gematria32 calls up, and I didn't even pull out this article yet, but he's like, did you know that Robbie Parker threw out the first pitch at the Rangers game 112 days after the shooting? And I said, no, I don't ever remember that happening, but look, he was scheduled to throw it out on April 5th, which, yes, was 112 days after the shooting. But anyway, when he was calling in, I didn't look up an article yet, but I was like, I said, well, the Rangers, that's funny because, they're run by the Bush family, who are Skull and Bones members, and Skull and Bones out in New Haven, Connecticut, which isn't far from SH, where the shooting happened in Connecticut. And if you recall, there was the shooting at the Batman premiere in Aurora that year on July 20th, typically the 201st day of the year, but it was a leap year, so it was the 202nd day. Skull and Bones equals 201 and 202. Like the Paul Walker movie, The Skull's About Skull and Bones, it came out 201 days after his birthday or on his 202nd day of his age. But again, Batman matters because in the Batman series, the original TV series, in the 33rd episode, it is the 33rd, it's called like Fine, Feeny, Fiends, Fine, I forget. It's FFF something. FFF, Fine, Finny, Fiend, something like that. But in that 33rd episode of Batman, again, part of the plot is that Bruce Wayne, that's Batman, his grandfather founded Skull and Bones at Yale. And remember I was showing the Val Kilmer just died in the major Skull and Bones salute, R.I.P. But I went back and watched the Batman that he's in, and look at my video right now on my channel of Val Kilmer. Hold up, I'm gonna make this point real quick. I'll do it in a second. But anyway, when they show Val Kilmer going through the Batman slide from his office down to the Batcave, it shows that he's traveling at 201 miles per hour and then 202 miles per hour, and that's all it shows. It goes 201, 202. I'm like, oh my God, the Skull and Bones numbers again. Don't forget, from Dune Blaine to SH was 201 months as well. 201 months apart. The shootings that were compared to each other where first graders were targeted in both. But anyway, again, Batman shooting And then SH shooting. And remember, that year they put out a map for Gotham City. Gotham City, you've always been able to get the map for Gotham City. And there's a neighborhood in Gotham called South Hinckley. For that year, 2012, they changed that neighborhood from South Hinckley to a different SH. Sandy H-O-O-K. Yeah, look it up. It's all facts. We've been talking about this forever. Skull and Bones, Batman, those shootings. There's more to it as well. But again, I was bringing that up, and then I look it up, and the news broke. If you go back and look, there are multiple articles written on March 22nd, 322, like Skull and Bones' Order 322, that Robbie Parker would be throwing out the first pitch at the Rangers game on 322 is the day it was announced. I mean, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? And don't forget, remember Robbie Parker was, or Alex Jones, the plant, was ordered to pay Robbie Parker $120 million. Like Robbie Parker equals 120, and 120 is the 15th triangular number, and Skull and Bones allows 15 members per year. Means if you had 1 through 15, it equals 120. And Skull and Bones is modeled after the Illuminati. Illuminati is 120, which was founded on the first day of May, 1-5, a bit like 15. All right, also buzzing in the headlines. I haven't had a chance to look at this yet, so we're just going to do it in real time. Dukes of Hazzard actor Rick Hurst dead at 79. Now we know murder's 79, Society of Jesus is 79. The 79th NBA season just ended. It was won by the Thunder, who were the Sonics, who won it in 79 during the time of the Iranian Revolution, which was 46 years ago, like Oklahoma's the 46th state. We just saw Bill Moyers of Oklahoma die. But yeah, let's do a real-time breakdown of the passing of Rick Hurst, who's born on New Year's Day, I see, who was born in 46. You got to be kidding me. So already right there's our 46 piece. Born in 46. He died yesterday, the 177th day of the year, the Jesuit order, the day leaving 188 days. Remember, Bill Moyer's name equals 188. He died on the day leaving 188 days left in the year. Bill Moyers is from Oklahoma, the 46th state, dead right after. See, it just starts to get weird, doesn't it? Because Bill Moyers just died at 91. Oklahoma defeated the Pacers, who lost with 91 points in the deciding Game 7. Richard Douglas Hurst. He went by Rick Hurst. Rick Hurst, 46. 46 state just won it 46 years after the last franchise win for the 79th season. Okay, so now we have 246 connections with this man. He was born in Houston. Remember that this finals was a tribute to the OKC bombing, and Houston won both championships around OKC, and Durant, who started with the Sonics and played for the Thunder, was traded to Houston the day of the deciding game. He went to school in New Orleans at Tulane. Tulane was a school when I was in high school that wrote me an offer letter. I got a scholarship offer from Tulane without even enrolling to go there. In hindsight, if you're 18, in hindsight, I wish I would have went to Tulane. I would have been down by New Orleans, fun city. If I could do my life over again, I would have went to Tulane. I got a scholarship to Arizona State. It was a good time too, but New Orleans would have been an even better time. Anyway. Let's go back and look at the Dukes of Hazzard TV show. Let me see here. Oh, Dukes of Hazzard started in 79. Go figure. Now he's dead at 79. Yeah, it's just that's why I swear I say the same things all the time, but I just get annoyed that more people don't catch on. I mean, this stuff is obvious. You don't even need to know Gematria. It's just usually it's just that obvious. Like, okay, show started in 79, he's just dead at 79. Here, let's run from the anniversary of the start date. It started on the 26th, so he obviously died 5 months later. Basketball's a game of 5-on-5. January 26, 2025 would have been the anniversary to June 26. 151 days or a span of 152. 151 is the 36 prime. 36 is a big number with the Thunder. That could have something to do with it. And the anniversary of it ending was what was it again? Where did it go? February 8th, 85. Basketball's 85. Forget that ritual they did on the 85th day of the year when storm equals 85, and they said the weather looked like Oklahoma up in Seattle. Come on. Not to mention the Seattle ladies team is the Storm, and they did pay tribute with the women's basketball team. They became 9-5, the Storm, the day Oklahoma City won the finals in tribute to the 95 bombing. Let's see. 138 days later, or a span of 139, and 139 is the 34th prime, and that's the big number with Indiana. Indiana lost the series 3-4. 52 years earlier, Indiana won the ABA championship. Lost in this one to the other 52 team, Oklahoma City. Let me see something else. Rick Hurst, IMDb. Houston, Texas equals 46 as well. Remember George Floyd from Houston, Texas, dead at 46. Sacrifice 46. It says he started with the Dukes of Hazzard in 79, so he must have been there from the beginning. I don't watch the Dukes of Hazzard, so I don't know him as a character. Actually never seen that show. His name was Cletus Hogg. Okay, Cletus Hogg. He was in 55 episodes. Cletus is 82, like game equals 82, like pro basketball equals 82, 82 game season. Cletus also 17, like NBA. Oklahoma City wins it 17 years after moving to Oklahoma City from Seattle. Cletus Hogg. 53 is the 17th triangular number. Yeah, I think those are the main points. There's probably more to it, but yeah, I have no doubt that this has everything to do with the finals. That's what you see over and over with celebrity. Just like people will die close to the championship and they'll have the same numbers connected to them that have everything to do with the ritual. Again, 79 season. Thunder win it 46 years after winning it the last time as a franchise when they were back in Seattle in 79. Where's the Dukes of Hazzard supposed to be set at? What's the setting for that show? Georgia. Hazzard County, Georgia. Huh? Okay. Hazzard County, Georgia equals 98, like National Basketball Association. That's interesting. Hazzard County equals 65, like Oklahoma City, like how the Pacers finished the year on 65 wins. Again, Ursay died at 65 right before tip-off of the Eastern Conference Finals. The Finals again on 6-5. Pacers got their 65th win on Juneteenth, which began in 1865. It also equals 61, like finals. Is that right? The Dukes of Hazzard. Am I spelling that right? Yeah. Okay. All right. I'll do a proper post for that later. All right. Gematria. Again, you learn the code. You see through the ritualism. Murder by numbers. It's as simple as ABC 1, 2, 3. Let's take some calls. Depending on how we do with calls, we can go for potentially up to another hour. I told the babysitters that I wouldn't go past 2:30 today, so I got upwards of an hour. S&P 500 hits record high today. I'm seeing that headline breaking as I open up the phone line here. All right, if you guys do want to call in, it is the 509 number on the screen. 509-560-4982. And let's see here. I see we got a super chat from Dale. Dale, you are so generous, man. Thank you again, Dale. You definitely didn't have to do that. Dale is the #1 contributor to the community at this day and age. He doesn't normally do super chats, though, but thank you very much, Dale. I do appreciate the continued generosity. Man, you know, I'm just looking at the concurrent viewers for the first time. So it says we got 88 likes, like Beast equals 88. It says we have 187 current viewers, like it's the day leaving 187 days left here. Are these stats real? As I say that, it jumps up to 198. Still at 88 likes, though. The point I'm making, though, is, man, that's worse than normal. Normally, we're closer to 300. We got less viewers than normal talking about MrBeast. You think just by talking about his name, this guy that has over 400 million subs, you just think by default, somehow, some way, more people would end up in your stream. And I've actually noticed that anytime, as I say that, we drop down to 179 people. Woo! They're out of here. But I've noticed anytime I've ever made a video about MrBeast, it's always gotten worse views than normal. And I think, how can that be possible? This guy that commands this huge audience, you'd think like his fanatics out there must constantly be searching for new content having to do with MrBeast, other people's commentary on MrBeast, reactions to MrBeast videos. You would think by default, if you're talking about a guy who has so many viewers, he has more subscribers supposedly than the population of this country, you would think that would bring more people with it. And again, sometimes I wonder, it's like, is this guy even really that popular? I had never seen his video show up in the feed. Anytime I do a video on him, there's less interest than any other videos. What's really going on here? What is really going on here? But yeah, the line is open if anybody would like to call in. Oh, hold on. You guys might be trying to call in. My bad. I forgot to open up the phone line. If you guys were trying to call in and you couldn't get through, try now, because the line is now open. I made a mistake there in the setup. I forgot to open the line. So it is now officially open. And while we wait on the first call, I'll see if anything else is buzzing right now. Typically, it's a slow news day on a Friday. Trump says this is a big one. Again, we just had the No Kings protest on the day of King Charles' military parade, which fell on Trump's birthday. Trump had a military parade like you'd see in North Korea. A lot of people overlook, though, that in the UK, King Charles was having his military parade. And remember, King Charles' birthday is November 14th, the day leaving 47 days left in the year. A reminder that we never really got free from the UK. They're still doing the rituals. Just like on the King's 74th birthday, when killing equals 74, we had the killings in 74 land in Virginia for the Cavaliers, when Cavaliers are those who fought for King Charles. Then we also had the killings in Idaho on King's Road and Moscow, which equals 74, Moscow, Idaho. Spelled the same way as Moscow, like King Charles is the first English monarch of Russian ancestry. They're supposed to have the Diddy decision later today. And remember, today's 46 days after the trial began. Diddy's 46, and not guilty's also 46. And based on the fact that it doesn't seem like much was brought by the prosecution, it looks like in this psychological operation and distraction, that is where it's heading. We'll see. We'll see if that's the way it is for all charges, though. There's several charges, so we'll see where they go with it. So much hype for that trial, and it was all just a bunch of BS. But what else is new with the news? And like I said from day one, I doubt Diddy's ever spent one day in jail. I doubt he's been in there for one day. Look at this. This was up here earlier, a picture of this, but here's the story. Astonished 102-year-old World War II veteran reacts to Emmy win. 102, you guys, right? Like World War equals 102. Like Art of War equals 102. Like the Jesuits are responsible for Art of War as we know it. Like the American Civil War blamed on the Jesuits by the president then, Lincoln, began on the 102nd day of the year. It's not the first time we've seen a 102-year-old World War II headline. Oh, we got a call from Oklahoma City. OKC?
What's good, Zach? What's good?
Yeah, what's up?
Man, not much, man. Just another day enjoying the good old trolling of the U.S. people, well, of the world, really. You know what I'm saying?
I do know what you're saying.
Yeah, extreme worldwide trolling every damn day, man. Like, like you said, you don't have to use the Gamatria, but you you could really just point out the absolute.
Uh-oh, we started to lose you, 405. You started to break up there.
Oh, we are?
Yeah, can you say that again?
Yeah, how's this?
That's better.
Okay, I'm realizing I can't move more than like 5 feet away from my damn phone or else the headphones won't pick it up.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, but yeah, like I was saying, like in that headline they had the other day with Trump and just the way they had it set up. They had the light behind his head, and I think it was something about he was speaking about why he did what he did on Iran. I mean, was it Iran, right? Not Iraq.
Iran? Yeah, it was Iran. Yeah.
Iran, not Iraq. Yeah. It was discussing. Yeah, it was an article that popped up, and the way that just the article, you could tell like they had Trump standing. It's all black behind him. I believe it was all black behind him, and he had the light literally right behind his head, the corona of light. With the like, come on, man, the corona behind his head and shit.
Yeah.
It's just like, come on, bro, you can't see this shit.
Yeah.
Father of the jab, and like me and my brother, you know, we were just laughing at this shit because it was just like, bro, come on, man. And I've been trying to tell the family, it's like you said earlier, man. Like they can really only talk about really the main thing that they want their brain to be focused on. Like they don't really care about the pattern really that this keeps happening by. They don't really care about that. It's just outrage on top of outrage on top of outrage and emotional reaction. And I'm like, bro, you guys got to get out of that. But it's difficult to pull them out. You know what I'm saying? It's difficult to pull you out.
It's like most people want to be emotionally invested in these storylines that we're fed every day that are meant to play with our emotions, and it's sad. I mean, that's part of the advantage of being aware of this is, look, now you're not being manipulated. This is like a cat. You're like the mouse, and the authorities are the cat, and they're toying with you before they eat you. And you want to be toyed with, and you want to get eaten is what it seems like. So.
Yeah, it seems like you just can only be hooked up on that, man. But I'm not even mad. You know, it's just it's what I come to expect by this point. You know, you still got people that believe in the damn so-called democracy whole thing. Like, man, they were right about that repetition in the news, man. Repeated over and over. People will believe that shit. They really will.
Yeah. Tell the lie enough, and it becomes the truth.
Oh God! I've been thinking about ways to, because you know I did not to go off topic, but I did undertake a degree for graphic design, and part of me is thinking, you know, what if I made something? What if I could create some sort of media or something that could just bring awareness to this type of shit? Because you know they always gotta tell you through the entertainment So I'm wondering if I could use my own creative entertainment to bring light to this shit. I've been planning it out for a minute. That's what I have at this point. Cause it's like shit, man.
I think that's what everyone needs to do is figure out their own best way to help wake up other people. And for everyone who does have great creative abilities, you'll probably have a lot more success than I've had.
Could be, man. Could be. I'm just working on that at the moment. That may be what you have to do, or hell, I don't know. Like, damn, it seems like the only way to get people in is through, I don't know, some sort of, unless you make like a kind of bullshit video, you know what I'm saying? You kind of have to make a bullshit video in order to pull in views, it seems like, because like, dog, I don't be understanding sometimes.
You know, it's funny. I follow this guy who has a smaller channel, and he tries to give people his tips on how to make better videos, and he does great work, but he doesn't get any views. A lot of other people on YouTube do his kind of content, get huge views, and they're not nearly as good as his. But anyway, he finally just made a video. He's like, you know what? The real secret is just make stupid videos. That's all that works on YouTube anymore. And then that video has got like hundreds of thousands of views. It's like funny. He's like averaging like 4,000 views a video, doing great work. And then he does this video out of frustration about just put out trash content if you want anybody to watch your stuff. And that's a video that gets, I'm just like,
wow.
What a joke this platform is, man.
It really is. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
like you have perfectly good content sitting right there, but it all gets passed up for maybe I don't know, some shitty thumbnail.
Yeah.
Like, bro, that's hilarious. I bet you all you have to do, Zach, your next thumbnail, you got to make it about porn or some shit. Dead ass. Just make it about porn.
I'm convinced that they've done something to this channel so that it can't get any views no matter what I cover.
For real, because from my perspective, yeah, like I don't be seeing it, because from my perspective, your thumbnails have gotten even better. You can see damn near, you can almost imagine everything that's going to be covered just from looking at it. Like, come on, dog.
And just for the record, when I got good views back in 2016, 2017, when I came back in 2018 after 20-some deletions, I got the good periods of time where I was getting views. I never even made thumbnails. I never even made a thumbnail ever for any of those videos.
No, you didn't even have to. Yeah. Some people who still record it with a damn phone probably don't even got a face cam.
Yeah.
Like, bro, I one thing I do remember doing well was that one rant you did. I can't remember what year. It was a rant that you did back in the day. I remember that responded well. Everybody was hooked on that shit.
Yeah, I don't remember. I've done a lot of rant videos, but yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, you really have. What am I saying? Yeah, there's been several, but yeah, that's a bad thing. But yeah, I'm doing my own ways. On the good side, though, you know, there's some people who talk about this shit at my job. You know, this one guy, I got him into the weather warfare realization. He's at least aware of that.
Well, that's good.
The weather warfare.
If everybody out there could get one person, just one person to talk about what's going on, you've doubled the number of people in the world who are awake. So.
Yeah, because people know what's going on. They just experience it through different ways. Like, you know, like it's a hard way to explain. You could be somebody, you know, let's say ever increasing police state, you know, you're somebody who likes to drive, you know, somebody likes to drive quite often. Maybe you have a heavy foot or some shit like that. You might realize this through the increasing number of speed cameras, hidden cameras, undercover cops rolling around. Like, it's constant, man. And people will realize it through stuff like that, but they won't go any further.
Yeah.
Maybe through things like that, like immediate things. But or say the riots, you know, the riots going on in LA, you know, possible things like that. You know, they'll catch on to things like that.
The staged riots in a few different corners in LA Not real riots, but yeah, the stuff that was made for the media.
Not real.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. The stuff that's Trump, put together and propped up for the media to ingest, because we can't sell that. We can't put that on TV. Got to make this big.
Yeah, it's all part of the divide and conquer show.
All right. Just straight up. But anyway, I'm not going to take too much time. I feel like I'm rambling. I'm going to go ahead and get off here and drop my brother off real fast.
All right. Well, always good hearing from you. And thanks for doing your best to get out the word in your neck of the woods. I appreciate it.
Oh, yeah, no problem. And appreciate you coming to OKC as well. That was dope.
Yeah, I'd like to do that again. I was hoping it would become an annual tradition, but the one problem with OKC is it was a ghost town. That surprised me. I was like, God, this is a real ghost town here in OKC. So.
Yeah, OKC is yeah.
All right, I'm gonna let 407 get in, man. But we will come out there again. It has to be done. So I appreciate it. You have a great day.
All right,
man.
you too.
What's up, 407? 407, hello.
Yep. Can you hear me?
There we go. Yeah, loud and clear. What's going on?
All right, cool. So I just wanted to call in because I think the mad scientist was in the chat. He had a pretty good observation. But yeah, he mentioned today is the release of the Squid Game season 3. And that has a connection to MrBeast because he started doing his own version of that called the Beast Games.
Oh, right. Right. Yep.
And yeah, Beast Games equals 178, like today being the 178th day. So I think that's like another part of this. And there's probably more to it. I didn't really look into it past that, but yeah,
I just got to remind people,
connection.
The first Squid Game that came out, the big climactic moment when you find out what the game's all about, they're playing red light, green light, and all these people get killed. They don't realize it's a life and death game, but by the end of the game, there's 201 people left. It started with, nearly 500, but 201, and that was years ago now, and that's when it wasn't that long after Event 201. It was during the Cooties 19, which was simulated again with Event 201, and this big Asian connection, and here's this Asian show you're hearing about. But remember at the time, Cooties 19, they're saying, man, there could be a billion people dead in China right now. We just don't know from Cooties 19 when there was all the fear mongering going on. Granted, it's not set in China. I believe is Squid Game set in Korea? I think it's Korea where it's set. But
yeah, I think it's a Korean base. Yeah.
But yeah, 201, big Jesuit number. So you're saying the final part today is releasing on the day, leaving 187 days left in the year. Another big Jesuit number, Society of Jesus, 187, the Jesuit Order, 201. And then the other thing it reminds me of is just the word Abrahamic equals 187. Like there's 187 chapters in the Torah because there's 3 Abrahamic religions. So is there something to that? Part 3 on this day? Anyway, I think you were saying more. Go ahead, 407.
Yeah, I think also, I don't remember if this is accurate or not, but I remember that you went over the series in the past, and I think at the end of one of the challenges, they get prize money added after each challenge. When people die, more money gets added to the prize pool. And I think one of those totals was 201,000 or 201 million dollars, whatever currency that they use. Is the number that they showed after one of the challenges. And
there's a lot, as I recall, there's a lot of, I bet there was some 187 rituals too, if we really went back and looked. The main character is number 456, right?
Right.
I think he's 456. Ignatius has the 456. We did a lot of work on this in the past. Yeah, the guy who wears 456, his character name also equals 456. His name is Seong Gi-hoon, or if I'm saying that right. But yeah, his character name is 456. Again,
yeah, I'm sure. Like
his main cohort is number 218 because that guy who just died connected to MrBeast died on 218. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. No, I was gonna say, I'm sure if you go through like these characters, because this whole series is based a lot in numbers, with everyone having a numbered Jersey. So I'm probably sure if you go through their names, there's probably a lot more connections. But yeah, this is the final season. I think there's 6 episodes. So season 3, 6 episodes to finish it. There's probably something to that too. But yeah, I just wanted to make the connection with MrBeast. He has his own show called Beast Games, which is pretty much based off Squid Games. And then Beast Games equals 178.
And it was, I just saw something about how it was announced on Trump's birthday in 2022. Or wait, no, hold on. Never mind, because Netflix did another Squid Game spinoff, and that was launched on Trump's birthday, which is the first of the last 201 days of the year. Here was the other thing about the contestant 456, who's the winner of the first one, the main character. Around that same time, the federal government had made a $456 million order with Johnson & Johnson for their Pokédoke, and you might recall they had to stop that because it was causing the old clots. But, yeah, right after the Event 201 simulation, what are the odds?
Yep. So that's all I wanted to add. I appreciate you for taking the call. Now, I mean, after this, I need to go back and watch to see, all the other number rituals that they did. Probably a lot that I missed in there. But yeah, thanks to what you've taught, we're able to see these type of things, right?
Hey, thanks for being one of the best students in the community, as well as the mad scientist. What's the mad scientist name in the chat again?
Don't follow the sheep. He was posting the same thing a few times. And I think he got angry and left because you didn't read the chat. I was just like, just wait, man.
Oh yeah. You know me, I don't look at the chat. So until I do look at the chat, I have to finish everything I'm talking about before I look at the chat. So,
yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that's all I had for you, Zach. I appreciate you taking the call.
Hey, thanks again, man. You have a great day.
Yeah, you too.
Take care. Yeah, it does come out today on Friday. The final 6 episodes of the series will premiere, closing out the devastating dystopian drama. I remember in part two, which came out either end of last year or earlier this year. All right, hold on. We got a phone call first. All right, here's one of the best young minds in the community. What's up? 252?
What's up, Zach? So, you got a few observations. So, when Trump announced his ceasefire, if you look up the Wikipedia of the Iran-Israel war, Iran-Israel conflict 2025, it states that at 6:02 p.m. on June 23rd, Trump announced the ceasefire. And this was right before Freemasonry birthday. Obviously, Mason was 62.
Hold up. I just wanted to search. I was going to try to quickly share. If you do like a control search on the Wikipedia right now, there are 79 uses of the name Trump in the whole article. Like he just turned 79 and the Iranian Revolution was in 79. That's why we call it Vatipedia, because these people, the Wikipedia articles are encoded. And that's why they change a lot of the information to false numbers, but then we understand why they put those numbers in there. Yeah, 79 mentions of Trump right now in the article. But I'll find the part you're talking about. 6:02. Yeah, it's
6:02 p.m. That's when
okay, go ahead.
You see it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that is 1:32 Iranian time. When United States military equals 1:32.
Well, United States
of America.
Yeah, and a country was named 132 days.
In the White House, of course.
Yeah, the country was named 132 days from the establishment of the Illuminati. Yeah, you just said 132 rooms in the White House. Roman Catholic equals 132. Catholic Church 132. England's another 132. They got a long history with Israel. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But 132 Iranian time, he puts that out. So how? And the thing is, I mean, is Scottish right 132, or am I missing?
No.
I swear I thought it was a 132 as far as masonry. But anyways, yeah, I mean, he puts it out, obviously, like I said, 132 Iranian time, and it right before Masonry's birthday at 6:02:62. I mean, it's like, you could have said late evening. You could have said anything. It's like, and the Wikipedia articles are just beyond encoded. They're so encoded with math. It's like just unbelievable. It's out of this world. Like, I was reading this article, and I wish I could remember who I was reading this article about, but it literally goes, the sentence sequence goes as follows. At about, it was Thomas, I believe it was the guy, you know who Aaron Burr is?
Oh, that name's familiar. Aaron Burr. Remind me.
He killed Alexander Hamilton, I think.
Vice President.
Yeah. Okay, so literally, it goes. He died. He was sick. He fell ill, and after about 31 hours, he was pronounced dead. You know, he was ill for about 31 hours, and then he was pronounced dead on July 12th. If you got the eyes to see, July 12th, 127, that's the 31st prime number.
Yeah.
Why else would you mention that he was sick for 31 hours?
Yeah.
Right before you mentioned the sentence of his death on July 12th.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Like, that shit is sick. That's ridiculous. Like, and then it just goes, you know, it says the duel that took place on July 11th, obviously 31 is the 11th prime. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy, which is, and I see why now. Language, mathematics, Catholicism, all these things equal 68. All these things, mathematics and Catholicism, how they practice math through language, through it's ridiculous.
It spells and spelling too, right? Spells and spelling.
Yeah. No, exactly. And if you can pull up, if you type in Netanyahu quote, because I don't know if you'll be able to find it, because it was like really like only a few specific articles, but Netanyahu quote from Proverbs. I want you to see what he quoted the other day on Freemasonry's birthday.
Okay. Wait, this isn't going to be the one. This is from November 7th, 2023. You said he quoted Proverbs just the other day?
Yeah.
Proverbs 24:6. Well, look at that, 24/6, like Freemasonry's birthday, right? And then they didn't fire any more shots. The last shots fired were June 23rd for the time being, and no shots were fired on Freemasonry's birthday. Again, they call Freemasonry Judaism for the Gentile. So Proverbs 24:6, okay.
Exactly. This was exactly on June 24th. This was literally on June 24th when he quoted this. Like on so I'm like, what is like? This is crazy. I literally. Of course, he uses this quote about war on June 24th, 24/6. And
you remember?
I mean, it just makes me think.
You remember what they did with the first hostage they put out? The whole thing, the October 7th attack, again, came 282 days after Netanyahu came into power, and Benjamin Netanyahu was 282. And then the first woman they show is the girl that's kind of pretty with the blue eyes, and her name was like Mia Shem. And there's the verse in the Bible, 10:21, that's about the people of Shem, and his birthday, Netanyahu's birthday, is 10:21. Yeah, just always, like I always say, the calendar. The Bible was numbered just before the calendar system was implemented and English was standardized. That's why I always say it's so obvious they used the Bible as the playbook and they made this system with the calendar and the Bible, and the church did it. Go ahead, though.
Yeah. No, of course, yeah. And the point I want to mention, Catholic Church equals 246.
Oh, yeah,
Catholic
it does.
Church equals 246.
Well, I was making that point that the country was 246. That's right. The country was 246 years old when the war in Israel started.
Exactly. Yep. That's exactly what I was about to point. I was like, yeah, look at what was going on while the country was 246 years old. And, you know, he comes out and mentions this. Like, I mean, it's fucking ridiculous. Like, what's going on? The whole thing's just encoded. And just like, and the word attack is 11. Attack equals 11 in the most pure. And obviously, Iran had the small retaliation at the Qatar base on the 11th day of the war, because that's the thing, right? Is they're numbering the war even on Wikipedia. You know, on the 9th day of the war, you know, is when the U.S. took action. And then on the 11th day of the war is when Iran retaliated back with the attack on the Qatar base, when attack equals 11. On the 11th day of the war, and that was 11 date numerology. Was that day was June 23rd. So just like you just so encoded, and if you look into the Iranian Revolution, you see that they overthrew something called the Pahlavi dynasty, Look at the gematria of Pahlavi dynasty. Pahvali.
Pahlavi dynasty. Okay.
Yeah, that's what they overthrew in 1979.
Okay. I didn't realize that piece. Okay.
And look, and look at the gematria of it. Literally 201. Look at it. It's perfect. Every single value in it is perfect.
Oh yeah, it's the 177 and 201, just like the Jesuit order. 60 goes with their thing. 75 goes with the war starting while Israel was 75. Israel attacks Iran on the day, leaving 21 days left near Benjamin Netanyahu 177. Yeah, good one.
Exactly. Yeah. So like, look at that. And if you look at it on Wikipedia, if you just look up Pahlavi dynasty and you go to the Wikipedia, the first thing it tells you is the dynasty, replaced the Hurst dynasty after the 1921 coup d'etat, however you say that word, whatever. But point is, beginning on
coup d'etat.
Yeah, I thought that, but I didn't want to say it and be wrong. But when 42-year-old soldier Reza Khan was promoted by British general, so that's how they came about, right? January 14, 1921, when a 42-year-old soldier named Reza Khan. If you look at the gematria of that, RezaKhan, 42. Reza Khan, 42.
And
he was 42 years old.
21 and 42. Yeah.
Exactly. And if you look at what day they were overthrown, look at it. February 11th. Literally the 42nd day of the year.
Yeah.
So like, how perfect. 42-year-old soldier whose name was 42, making history for this country that's going down on the 42nd day of the year. And here we are today with all this going on. It's insane.
History repeats.
Yeah, it does. If you what did you say to that guy? What did you say to that guy about he doesn't know anything about Christianity and the number 930? What exactly was it?
Well, in Protestant Bibles, the 930th chapter is Matthew 1, and Sumerian gematria Christianity is 930. I imagine that was the point I was making.
Do you know how long Adam lived in the Bible?
Yeah, 930. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I wanted you. I was like, I couldn't remember watching the stream. I was like, I wonder if that was the point he was making, or was it about something else? But like, I was just looking at a lot of stuff. I was like, he lived for 930 years, and like you said, Christianity 930, and obviously, big number Nazareth and God's son. I mean, just this stuff is insane. And did you know that Columbia? Do you know that India equals India? Is it India or Indian that equals 33? It's Indian. Indian equals 33.
Yeah.
Right? Do you know that Columbus? I mean, I'm taking a history class in college right now. That's why all of this is so on my mind. That's why I'm talking about Alexander Hamilton and ages. You know that Columbus went into the Indian Sea on the 33rd day of his voyage. That's what he documented himself.
That's what they taught you in school?
Yes, that's his
no, I didn't know that. I didn't know that, but that's funny. CC. I always point out that he's Mr. CC. CC33.
Yep, exactly. I mean, 1492 when Christopher Columbus 92, and he explores in the year 92. But yeah, I mean, like I'm just looking. This history class is insane when you know Gamatria. Like it's got to be the most interesting course I've ever taken after knowing this knowledge.
Yeah. 33-day voyage across the Atlantic. 33-day voyage.
Yep, exactly. And voyage equals 42, just like slavery. What do they teach you? Going back, voyages of slavery and all these things. It's just it is crazy. Just like they talk about the pilgrims and this 102 number, because all over racing with how they say 102 pilgrims survived on the Mayflower. They say 102 survived. That why you think they always got the Cowboys play on Thanksgiving? What is Cowboys? 102. Always playing on Thanksgiving when 102 people survived on the Mayflower.
Yeah.
So it's fucking ridiculous, and it's so funny because it's like you're taking these classes, right? You're taking these history classes, and the questions are so fucking dumb. Where it's like, write me a 700-word essay on was America successful in bringing in unity in the early 18th century? What do you think? I mean, half of everybody was still slaves. All African Americans were still slaves. All Indians got their lands taken away from them. They weren't doing shit but the same thing they're doing today, fucking over their people. What do you think? What do you everybody? And it's like the forum is like, oh yeah, go respond to 2 classmates discussing with them if they disagree with you. Yeah, go figure. Nobody disagrees. It's fucking obvious. This is dumb. What are you even asking me? How is this teaching me anything? You're just asking me the most obvious questions.
Indeed.
So this stuff is a joke. They're teaching it as a joke, and people don't even care to see the obvious. I mean, people ask, why are people this way? Why is the world this way? I mean, it's by design, and you could tell this to somebody's face, and they still wouldn't care. But the thing is, you don't have to know. I didn't have to learn this knowledge. You didn't have to learn it. None of us had to learn it. So I don't even try to tell people this anymore, because it's like, you don't have to know. Chances are you die without ever finding this out. So, just, I can't change it. You know what I mean? Like, I can only save myself as far as people's stupidity.
Indeed. Yeah, you're going to find yourself in a very similar situation to what I found myself in college. It's hard to find people to have worthy conversations with. You might find some professors, though, who are open to them. So.
Yeah, oh yeah, no, for sure. I had a high school teacher who told me, do you know how I found out that presidents were Freemasons? I already knew about Freemasonry. I pointed to a board. I said, hey, why do you have like all the orange highlighted over the presidents on your board? And I guarantee you there are probably about 100 teachers in America, if any, who have done this. And I pointed to this board and I'm like, why is there like orange all over, certain presidents, like on your board of them? He goes, do you really want to know? And me and him sat down for an hour, and his grandfather was a Mason, and he informed me, yeah, I know what the fuck is going on. You're not crazy. He was the first person of authority in my life to ever confirm, yeah, you're not tripping. This stuff is weird. And he knew it.
I wonder if he was doing something deeper there with the orange too, man. Orange is the only color that has that gematria 33, just like teacher equals 33, and it's 33 is the master teacher number. So
I wonder. I never got to ask him what I asked him because I didn't know this yet. But trust me, he would have got tired of me if he knew me in this era of my life. But yeah, no, it is very, very insane, man. But yeah, I just wanted to call in and read that 1:32 Iranian time. How funny.
Yeah. Great observation as always. Excellent work.
Yep. Thanks, man. You have a good one.
All right. Yeah. You have a good day. Take care.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm reminded that when I first learned about this work, again, the only place I shared it online was my Facebook page. And the only 2 people out of I forget how many Facebook friends I had, but pretty much the only people on my Facebook were people that I actually knew, whether it was from school or work or acquaintances. But I probably had about 300 people that I was Facebook friends with, and only 2 were ever supportive of the comments or the things that I shared on there. And they were both women, and one was the same age as me. Actually, she's a little bit older than me, but we're same grade level. And then the other one was younger than me, and she just liked me. She was like a younger girl that had a crush on me, but the one that was my age was also a teacher, and she yeah, it's just, I remember talking to her about the 33 thing. She was blown away by the teacher thing. She's like, that is so interesting. And yeah, how in numerology is the master teacher. But the other point I make about that is it was just 2 women out of all the people that I was Facebook friends with that were ever supportive of what I was posting. Everybody else was a mad hater. And yet my analytics show that hardly any of the people that watch the channel are women, less than 20%. I guess it's almost 1 in 5, but it is the major minority. Anyway, if we don't have more calls, we can wrap it up. I'll go get Sweet Girl. I am debating on not doing live streams for a while and putting in more time to, well, a video was just uploaded that I kind of want to watch. I've been trying to get this lady to engage with the work, and I don't know if she just doesn't understand it or if it's not interesting to her, which a lot of people it's not, sadly. Hold on. It just got uploaded. Let's just play it real quick and check it out. She's also on the weather warfare. I've been trying to get this woman to look at what we're talking about. Looks like she posted an hour ago. I just got the notification for it. Let's check this video out real quick. I just ordered some stuff for a sweet girl from this website yesterday. Now I'm getting ads. Isn't it funny the way the internet works? We'll speed it up a little bit. See if we can hear.
Hello, everyone. I'm Tracy Derwin, and I'm here with Shane Buell.
Again, it's now the third time I've played a video from this channel. This woman, her YouTube channel was all about makeup, and then Maui burned up, and she's made her whole channel about trying to understand weather warfare. And I've connected with her in her own comment section and let her know that I made videos for her, but I haven't seen her respond to any of it. Oh, this is a longer video. We'll watch a little bit. We'll see. I do got to go get a sweet girl here in a minute, though. All right, let's see what they got today. Wildfires erupt across America from California to Alaska. Remember, fire equals 25. It's 2025. Said at the beginning of the year it could be a real bad year for fires. They said that there's been a lot more fires this year than any other year so far, and we're getting into the real fire season. Out here where I live in Prosser, Washington, in my P.O. box, I didn't get it in my house, but in my P.O. box, they put in a pamphlet that said, fire is coming to Prosser this summer. I'm like, how do they know that? All right, let's continue.
In today's video, we're going to be going over the many fires that are going on in the U.S. right now, all the way from California, Utah, Oregon, and even in Alaska. Before we get started, if you haven't subscribed, please do so before you leave, and like, comment, and share this video so we can get the word out. So thank you, Shane, for pulling up all this information. So we got some damage information from the Oregon fire. So let's start there if we can.
All right. There are lots of fires. I just want to say there's lots of fires everywhere, and I'm only going to cover the ones that impacted homes or structures or have some sort of other anomaly. In the most anomalous fire that we've seen so far this month, in my opinion, was the Oregon Rowena fire along the Columbia River, just west of the Dalles. And there were over 4 dozen homes.
So I covered this. They had to shut down I-84 on the day, leaving 201 days left in the year. Like the Jesuit order equals 201 and 84. You can see right there, 84 is highlighted. Of course, weather control equals 201, but that infamous Jesuit pairing 201 and 84. So I actually talked about this, and all right, they're getting to it now.
That were impacted in this fire. And it was allegedly caused by a train. Allegedly, a Union Pacific train sparked as it went past, and the spark ignited the brush. And that's
yeah, I love the screenshot down there. Shows that it's 84 degrees while I-84 shut down. Come on, man.
What allegedly started the Rowena fire just west of the Dalles. Now, some of the...
And hold on, I never ran the Gematria on the fire. Rowena fire. Even though I'm out here in the Pacific Northwest, I couldn't tell you what Rowena is. Rowena. Oh, there's 86. That's interesting. Well, off the top, I don't see the typical fire numbers there. I do see the 60, though. That's another one of those Jesuit pairings.
Anomalous, fire behavior that I've seen is in some of the damage indicators like we see with this truck. So the truck appears to be missing all of its windows, but when we zoom in here, that's so the story behind this truck is that it's a 2007 Ford Ranger that was used by Jason Deach and Mike Griswold to escape the Eaton fire in Los Angeles, and it was destroyed in the Rowena fire. But when we zoom in near the dash, where you can see where the steering wheel would have been, there looks like some sort of melted substance all over the steering column. We often see this, and I typically do look at steering columns to see if there is melted glass on them. And there is a melted substance on this that looks like it could be glass. Now it's in the shadow. I wish there was more sun shining on it, but this is likely a glass windshield.
See, this channel does this over and over, though. This is what I noticed that they do. They like to look at the images and the damage and how weird and bizarre it is, but it's like we have to evolve beyond just looking at the weird, funny damage. We need to figure out why they're doing this, who's doing it, and that's what our work addresses. Why the first act of weather warfare is admitted to on the Jesuit order's birthday, what Lyndon Johnson said at Jesuit Holy Cross, what all these things continue to point to. you know, this is the stuff people would rather watch, though, seemingly, because when the Maui fire happened, you know, videos that were getting hundreds of thousands, millions of views were just mostly focused on, oh, isn't this weird? Look at that burn pattern. Look how this melted. It's like, okay, is this... Anyway.
It's probably tempered and also contains a laminate of plastic so that when the windshields shatter, they don't break into small pieces and go flying everywhere. So it does look like the glass melted in this fire, which would indicate a temperature of 2,500 plus degrees Fahrenheit. Also, the home damage looks like only stone and steel had really survived this. And when we look at this home from the front in the daytime, you can see that a lot of it has been reduced to white ashes as if it had bypassed the combustion process. This looks like evidence of calcination, which occurs at a higher heat than combustion. And the trees in the background.
Yeah, I was just going to say that.
Yeah, the trees in the background are mostly intact. You can see some scorching on some trees, but it's not enough to tell which direction the fire came from and which way it went. So it's really hard to tell. It looked like it was mostly a house fire that affected some trees. All right, and I think that's all I have for the Dalles, Oregon Rowena fire. And now the next thing I want to show is the Apple Valley Ranch fire. This was in San Bernardino County, and it actually burned into some of the area where there was homes. There was about 36 homes that were impacted here in Apple Valley. And one of the images I have shows a school bus on fire in the background, but in the foreground, there appears to have been a structure there that's been reduced into nothing but a very small pile of white ash. Again, looks like evidence of calcination. I also have some video from the Apple fire that I want to show. Now, this tank, I'm curious if from our viewers, if they know whether this is a metal tank or a plastic tank, which will be relevant here in a second because of the way that it burns. When it cut to the next scene, I want you to look at the fire behavior around that tank. It looks like it has a bunch of strange little streamers of plasma-like energy wrapping around it. And coming off the top looks like combustive flame, but wrapping around that tank looks like some sort of plasma streamers.
Yeah, it looks like those
plasma coming out of a plasma globe.
Yeah, like that globe, and it has that.
Yeah, it looks very strange. And then the firefighter steps in the way so that you can't see it. I don't know if that's intentional or not. But then here, it looks like normal combustive flames coming off of this tank. So it kind of leads me to believe that it might be plastic, but those plasma streamers were weird. Now look at this bent pipe here that looks like it has an envelope of plasma around it. I'm pretty sure that's a metal pipe that's bent there, but it's coated with like a layer of fire. Very strange. Now here we have what looks like dirt with no fuel in it, yet we have melted aluminum near these cars. So you can see this dirt looks like it didn't really have much, if any, grass in it at all, yet there's melted aluminum right there with no fuel under it to keep it hot. So what actually was hot enough to burn that aluminum? Something anomalous.
You think maybe that was a mobile home? Kind of made me think it was maybe a mobile home in Apple Valley.
It looked like one of those manufactured homes, kind of, or it could have been a double-wide mobile home, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, it didn't look like the home itself was of superior construction, but what really stuck out to me was that tank to the left of the home.
Right, because that's something we see if you're a little bit newer, often mobile parks.
You know, again, I'm not going to come to any conclusions about these people, but I know that she's probably checked out at least one of the two videos, and so far hasn't had anything to say about it, which I find disappointing. But again, this is their content. And in a way, you could say, well, people, it does bring attention that something weird is going on. This stuff doesn't make sense. What's really up? But if this is what like the whole truth community does, right? They call attention. Oh, it's like call for an uprising. Every video is like, did you see this celebrity doing that thing with the hand over the eye? It's like, okay, is this every video? Okay, look, oh, wow, the celebrity's doing the thing with the hand over the eye again. Oh, look, checkerboard floor in the music video. It's like, okay, this takes you so far, but we need to go further than this to understand what is really causing this in the world, who's behind it, and why. And it seems like almost nobody ever really wants to go there. The jury's still out on these two.
Are destroyed. Seems to be very common.
That is very common. And we will see some more of that again here in a little bit. All right. The next fire that I want to talk about is the Utah Forsyth fire. And this fire actually started just south of Pine Valley, and it creeps north and east, and it affected the south and eastern portions of Pine Valley. This fire was almost 10,000 acres, and it actually did impact, I think, over 36 homes. And we do have some images. This image is of the fire behavior, which again appears on this image to be a little bit of a purple or a maroon color. I don't know if that's actually the true color of the fire or if that's just the way it shows up in images. I do believe this could possibly be due to overexposure of the camera. Okay, so this occurred in Pine Valley at the Dixie National Forest. And we can see that the ground here is burned, but it didn't reach very far up into the trees. These are pine trees, so the needles, if any of the needles catch, they should catch the rest of the needles. However, it only looks like it burned a few feet off the ground. Now, the Pine Valley Forsyth fire was claimed to have been started by lightning damage, and they used this tree as evidence of the start of the fire. They claimed that this is the tree that was struck by lightning and started the fire. Now, I shared this image with Robert Brame, the forensic arborist, who had already seen this image, and he says it doesn't look like lightning because the top of the tree is still intact. You know, lightning will hit the higher parts of the tree first and then channel its way down, and this tree looks like it's only damaged at near the ground level. Plus, it looks like it burned from the inside out, which is another pattern that we've seen in a lot of these fires. All right. Speaking of trees, we have a fence line here with some trees behind it. These, again, are pine trees that are only burned a couple feet off the ground. But what's really anomalous to me are the fence posts. So at the far right near the road, you can see a fence post that's almost hollowed out. I should have zoomed in on this so you can see it better. But where it was mounted, the cross beams were mounted, it completely burned a hole through that post. Also, you can see the ends of the horizontal beams are burned, but not the middles. And if you look at the vertical posts in the foreground, you can see that they seem to only be burned where the fasteners were at. All right. And then this is another home in Pine Valley, Utah that looks to have been reduced to basically only the steel and stone structures. And the trees are still around. Some of the trees were burnt, but you can see this tree on the left that's practically overhanging the home is actually still intact. So why did that tree?
When you can set up reliable Spectrum internet in minutes, you can feel at home in minutes.
Not burn. All right. And I think those are all the images I have from the Pine Valley, Utah Forsyth fire. So now we're going to go to New Mexico. So there was a fire that started just south of Albuquerque in a place called Los Lunas in New Mexico. And this fire was allegedly started by a cigarette that was thrown out of the window. And as you can see, it actually burned along the river here, just east of Los Lunas, and it impacted a community on the Valencia side of the river. There are over a dozen homes that were impacted here. And I think I do have a video that we can show of one family that lost one of those homes.
Fire from Saturday destroyed at least 12 homes.
5-10 minutes later, we come back, we see flames and everything was on fire.
Eli Ortega and his mother lost their home Saturday within a matter of minutes. Then Sunday, the Cotton 2 fire prompting more evacuations across the village of Los Lunas.
What happened to me? All my stuff and everything that I owned was missing and burned down, and I felt bad for everybody that went through it.
All right. So that family was actually on the other side of the river. So this is the Desert Willow Complex fire, which actually consists of two fires, which started out as the Cotton fire and then the Cotton 2 fire. So the family that we just saw lost their home in the first fire, and then the second fire spread across the river to the other neighborhood. We have some images of this where you see mostly just homes burning, but not the trees. So it doesn't look like a forest fire. It looks more like a house fire. Let's see here. And then here's another home that has pretty much already finished burning into the ground, yet the trees have not yet ignited. It looks like every tree around this home still has its leaves. And to me, that's very anomalous. Why would the flames not have also caught the leaves on fire? All right, so now we have a home in Los Lunas, and this may be the home that we saw in the video. However, what really sticks out to me is the beams under the floorboards. These are steel beams that are warped and bent like that. And in order to soften steel like that, we're talking temperatures of 2,500 to 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit.
And then also we would think we'd see like appliances, metal appliances left. Typically that's what we would see, but didn't look like I didn't see any. I didn't see many appliances.
Here, let's just see. What temperature does a forest fire burn at? Because this is the problem with September 11th, too. Just, jet fuel doesn't burn hot enough to do what it did to the still. So, yeah, 1,400 to upwards of 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit. And you'd be almost there. But, again, what they're pointing out, I mean, it is good to bring awareness to this. Because, yeah, these things don't make sense. If you've never seen the footage of the trees that are on fire from the inside out, it's like, what's going on? How does that even happen? This kind of stuff's been shown over and over with all these bizarre fires. And then again, you look at our piece, it's like, the fires were burning from the inside out when Paradise in Los Angeles caught on fire on November 8th, 118, when Paradise, California is 118, just like Los Angeles, California. And again, LA is also on the 118th Meridian West. And its establishment date, September 4th, leaves 118 days left in the year. And of course, there's been a lot of fires like this by the numbers.
That may be like a washer in the background. It's hard to tell. Some shells of appliances did survive, but they are few and far between. You would expect to see more appliances, and especially more sinks and toilets and things like that. We also don't see any porcelain.
We'll never see, a sink or a toilet.
Yeah. And porcelain breaks down at about twice the temperature that steel does. So that would indicate a very high temperature. All right. And then here's another home in Los Lunas. And you can see that basically the only thing that appears damaged is the home itself. The trees in the background look fine. And even the blue items on the left and right both also look okay as well. All right.
Remember when they showed how Mel Gibson's home burned down? They made a big focus on the LA fires and pretty much all the landscaping and everything in the house was just fine, but the whole house was destroyed. It's just, how does this happen?
So now the next fire that I want to go to is the Trout Fire in Grant County, New Mexico. Now this fire was very large. It was over 47,000 acres, and it did spread east to Highway 35, where it also impacted about another dozen homes. And I do have...
Hold on. Since I brought up Mel Gibson, I always got to go back to my classic. Mel Gibson had that movie in the 90s, Conspiracy Theory, right before things really got wild in this country. In case you don't know this one, August 8th is the anniversary of that film coming out. Came out on 8/8. Came out 218 days after his birthday. Conspiracy Theory in the base ciphers 218 and 88. What a day to release Conspiracy Theory. And then, the strange things going on with the fires, and they got to focus on Mel Gibson's house. All right, let's continue.
I think, yeah, so we don't have any images of these. Actually, I stayed up looking for images of this. There's only about a dozen homes impacted, and I couldn't find any images of these yet.
But something I think is significant about that one is the fires tend to be where the river is, right? They tend to have been like by water, bodies of water. And that's something we've seen. The first time I saw that was in Kula in Maui. So the morning fire, it started at the bottom of a gulch and it kind of spread from there. And I've also seen that in Malibu, the Palisades area, the canyon, the bottom of the canyon seems to be the source or where it starts. And we're thinking because there's probably water either there or underground, if you think about where lightning or where electricity would be attracted to, it would be, metals, water. And so we're kind of thinking that's kind of the attractor there, right? The creek, the river, the lake seems to be.
Yeah, electricity always tries to find a pathway to the ground. And so it takes the least resistance pathway to the ground. And it'll do that through the most conductive pathways, through power lines, through, any metal that goes into the ground and any water, so like groundwater and trees that are water loving are going to be more conductive. And so it'll take those pathways.
Okay.
All right. So now we're going to go to the fires in Alaska. And I got some information from the Alaska DNR Division of Forestry and Fire Protection, where they show that it looks like at least 5, or at least this is the first half of their post, and it shows 5 lightning bolts that struck 4 creeks. So we have 4 separate creeks that were struck by lightning bolts, and we also have another fire that was also created by lightning, allegedly. And then the Alaska DNR post goes on to show 7 more lightning bolts that all struck creeks, lakes, and rivers, of all places. Now, the fact that lightning is striking water is not unusual, but it is slightly unusual when it's near higher objects. So these are in river valleys and lakes in the mountains where, there's a valley and you've got peaks on either side with trees and whatnot. Those should have been targets of lightning, but for some reason the water or nearby the water is what's actually getting struck. So
and
I don't know.
I'll link the video that we launched with Robert Brame, and he's the forensic arborist that we get a lot of advice from. And he does point out that he goes to these fires. He's been to many. And he says that one creek was completely void of aquatic life. There were no fish, no aquatic insects. So that makes me think there was some kind of electrical event, right? Because that would cause the life to die.
That's definitely one explanation, and in my opinion, the most plausible.
Softer poops. Less spit up.
Poops.
Yummier babies.
Yeah.
All right, if you guys want to check out the rest of this channel, it's on Brush Junkie. But yeah, again, they're kind of just stuck on looking at what's strange, and I don't know if they're digging deeper. And then when somebody comes along and offers the information, no response. So disappointing. That's what I'm used to, though. I mean, just anytime I've tried to reach out to anybody, I'm just used to being ignored and no feedback. And I think, how is it that everybody just like, I don't know. Are these people too stupid? Are they plants? Like, what is it? It's one of the two. All right, but again, thank you to the people who donated during this stream. 3 minutes to help hit the goal before the timer expires. We got what did we hit? We had we had a goal of 10. We got 5. Thank you, Dale. Thank you, Gematria Sense. Hey, thank you, Sarah Sutherland. Gematria Sense also echoed in on the Rick Hurst death. Dead at 79, 46 years after the Dukes of Hazzard, when his name equals 46, like sacrifice. And again, it goes exactly with what just happened in the NBA championship. Same number pairing as we talked about. Sarah Sutherland says, went to bed and woke up one day with this information and then stumbled on your channel on YouTube. Don't know why, just did. Well, I'm glad you did, Sarah. You've been super generous. Thank you so much. Sarah's in the all-time Hall of Fame for most generous people around here. I think she'd be even more generous these days if I hadn't told her 1,000 times to stop donating because she already donated too much. But I do always appreciate it, Sarah. Thank you. Larry says, check out Tesla stock at $322 on the day, leaving 187 days left in the air. Remember, their alias Brotherhood of Death equals 187. It's right up there with the Apple ritual yesterday. All these people are stuck on the surface, pretty much recycled news reporting with a touch of curiosity, but not enough, says Open Up. Yeah, that's how I feel too. Thanks again, Open Up, for your super generosity. One of the most generous people around these days. Here, Tesla stock before we get out of here. Well, it doesn't look like it's at 322, and from my neck of the woods, looks like it's at 323. I mean, that's close, but that's not 322. So, unless TSLA stock is a different one, I thought that's Tesla though. Yeah. Appreciate the super chat, but hey, make sure your information is accurate. trying to wake your friends and family up and saying, Tesla stock's at 322 today. And they look at it like, no, it's not. No, it's not. All right, yeah, I do got to go get Sweet Girl. Thanks again to everyone who hits the like and the share. MrBeast, if you're out there, hey, do you even need enough? What do you do once you make $1 million every video? Like, how much money do you need to have enough? I mean, YouTube's helping you make $1 million a video while yours truly is over here making the $1 million worthy content and getting absolutely hosed by the system. Do the right thing, MrBeast. Give up that evil and join the good fight. All right, True Seeker, thanks again. We have guests this weekend, so I might not be so busy through the weekend. Then again, depends on what happens. I might have to make time. But once again, do appreciate everyone who hits the like and the share. Thank you to everyone who supports the work. Thank you to everyone who stayed on Patreon. We lost over 500 Patreons over the course of the last 6 weeks. Not exactly sure why that is, but it is. We're down 500 people who had their $1 pledged a month. I think it had something to do with calling out what was going on over there in Israel, because that's when people really started to fall off. But if you guys haven't checked and you didn't realize you got unsubscribed, you might have. I'd appreciate anybody who came back. But again, thanks to everyone who has found a way to stay on there. It is appreciated. Until next time, everybody. Have a great day.